Hey everybody, welcome to Rock and Roll Shin-Soo. This is episode number 81. It's been a long time, a long, lonely time. Yes, it has.
Too
so I'm
long.
here. My name is Gabe Estel. I'm here with my co-host Jonathan Getz and Dennis Levi Leach. How's it going, guys?
Amazing.
Back in the saddle,
Good
baby.
to see you. Good to be back. Good to be back for this. I guess it would technically be a late summer or early fall episode. So as the season winds down in the major leagues,
here's to another one. Yeah.
Everybody's switching to the Oktoberfest beer and the pumpkin spice lattes.
Yeah. Putting down the lemon shandies.
Right.
I've already burned through a six-pack of Oktoberfest.
Yes.
I heard some shit happen in baseball since we last recorded. Like the Dodgers started to suck, and the Indians did not.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely. Those two teams took definitely different directions, but will both end up winning their division. Well, Cleveland already has, but they'll both end up winning their divisions. But I think probably of the three teams that we root for, probably the Cubs are the most intriguing. In the sense that 1 year after the World Series, their situation is the most intriguing. Yeah. 1 year after the World Series, you got to have a good next few, 9-10 games left, Levi? Something like that?
Yeah, I mean, the Cubs any day seem like they could make it or they could break it. Some people are coming out, though. Albert Almora has kind of turned it on here the last week or two.
Yep.
And Schwarber's kind of coming around. So those are two guys that could be huge for us in the playoffs.
Right.
And so, I mean, and I think that's the attitude in the club is like, let's just get there. Like, we just got to get there, and then anything can happen after that.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
They're kind of scrambling a little for it, though.
Because I would assume, I don't have the standings up in front of me, I'd assume Arizona probably has a better record than the Cubs, right?
Off the top of my head, I'm going to say yes.
I would say they've won a few more games, particularly with how well they played last month, and part of this month too. And then the Rockies have played well lately too.
Oh yeah, they could sneak in.
The Brewers are only half game back,
and the Brewers are only a half game back. So the National League is a much more interesting picture than.
It would be amazing if I could go to an NLCS Cubs-Rockies game.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah,
that would be insane. Yeah. That would be awesome.
Man. And then also, well, if we do hop over to the American League for a second, I'd have to look at like beginning of the year predictions because I don't necessarily know how high everyone was on the Twins. I don't know how many like prognosticators picked them. I don't think many. I can't think many, but
they won like
I don't know.
55 games last year. I don't know why anybody would have.
I can't think many. I wasn't sure if people thought there was potential there and they just didn't reach it.
No.
But I mean, there's the Twins are probably going to snag that second wild card. So good for them, I guess.
Paul Molitor turning it around.
Right. So yeah, I mean let's say this. The Twins and the Brewers. That is. I think even if the Brewers don't make the playoffs, it's still, I think, a successful season for them.
Considering it's supposed to be a rebuild, yeah.
Considering it's supposed to be a rebuild, yeah, they're a couple of years ahead of schedule, or maybe even in their eyes, unexpectedly good. So yeah, the fact that Milwaukee and Minnesota could both make the playoffs, I think those are two big surprises. And I don't know if both of those teams will make the playoffs, but I would certainly say probably the Twins most likely. I could be wrong, but because who else is alive in the American? Like the Angels are alive, I think, right? Mm-hmm. The Twins. I mean, there's other teams technically still alive, but I don't really see it happening. No offense, Jonathan, with the Royals.
I don't think that they should make the playoffs, even if they were in a position.
They don't deserve it.
No, they should defer. And the starting pitching is really rough. But Terrence Gore got an at-bat tonight, so that's great. Terrence Gore has 21 career stolen bases and 12 career at-bats.
Wow.
But he still doesn't have a hit, unfortunately, and so maybe if we can get Terrence Gore a hit.
It's like Willie Mays Hayes numbers here, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what's you've got this other guy that's intriguing. I don't know if he's a rookie or it's like his second year. I think he's an outfielder. What's his name? Is it like Whitmore or something like that? Or
Whit Merrifield?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a second baseman.
How long's he been around?
This is his first real full season.
Okay.
And he came up. He stepped up when Raul Mondesi Jr. wasn't doing so well. And Whit Merrifield is I think technically an above average hitting second baseman, and so they've really lucked out there. And I don't know what happens with Raul Mondesi Jr. But Whit Merrifield.
That's a great name.
Two-hit Whit is what they call him.
I think I ate at that seafood restaurant in Maine once.
Whit Merrifield's, yeah.
So was Raul Mondesi, obviously, I remember his father's baseball cards.
Yeah.
Was he expected to be good? I mean, I've heard the name for a few years.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was he was one of their top prospects. He got popped last year for juicing.
Yeah,
apparently he needs to get better masking agents so he can perform better.
Right.
Well, going into next year, you got a reason to be a little bit optimistic because obviously, hindsight's 2020, but you guys should have been sellers at the deadline.
But at the deadline, they were in it. So you can't tell a team, even though they won the World Series 2 years ago, before that they were such garbage for so long.
Oh yeah.
The fan base does not want them to be sellers if they're in it.
Because you're going to lose
come the trade deadline.
You're going to lose everybody, right? In the offs, I mean,
you hope
you're going to lose that core.
Well, let Kane go. You got the best years out of Kane. You might be getting Moustakas' best year. You might be getting Hosmer's best year. But hopefully they can re-sign either Hosmer or Moustakas. They won't re-sign both.
Well, yeah. One of them's going. I mean, it made probably two. I would say,
yeah.
But
I mean, look, if the trade deadline were later and they were like they were slipping so hard, 5-6 games out at one point. Yeah, sure. Then go ahead, trade them. But at the time, they were right there in the thick of it. Only a game or so out. Yeah. So
it's a tough call.
Yeah.
I always want to see my team win. But I'm kind of like, oh, can we get the first draft pick this year? Because let's be honest, we're not, we've won 60 games or something like that. So I'm like, we're at least going to get a top 4 pick.
That's okay in baseball.
3.
That's good enough because you might just end up selecting Luke Hochevar with that first overall. So
true. Or the first 2 picks could be high school kids and they won't be ready, and you kind of got to wait on them for a while. Whereas maybe with a 3rd or 4th pick, you might get a guy that's has
at
a
least
couple,
in AA or something.
Yeah, has a couple collegiate years under his belt, if not
or something.
Maybe 4 collegiate years, and then you can move him up quickly. I don't know. I mean, it's all about 20. I would say 2020 for
college. Yeah.
I think next year the White Sox win probably I would say we win 10 more games, maybe something like that, maybe 8 to 10 more games, and then finally in 2020.
It's a progression for sure. Yeah. I mean, the Cubs. It was the same way for the Cubs. You know what I mean?
Just got to trust the process, as they say. Yeah. So. Yeah, but I'm even though my team could very easily is one of the worst teams in baseball. I don't feel that bad because I feel like something good's on the horizon. So yeah, so
you'll finish with a better record than the Royals next year.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly. But anyway, so that a little bit of update on baseball. Now at the beginning of the season, one last thing. Levi had predicted the Cubs and the Indians in the World Series. Now, I think that could happen again. I think that's at the time I wasn't sure about it. I'm not a big repeat pick guy. But I was but now that I look at it, I think that might have been probably the best picks.
And like I said,
I had to do over. I would pick that too.
Yeah, I think the Cubs are the team to where if they could just get there. Being they were just there, they know that it's now just about the grind of the playoffs.
Sure.
I think they can overcome it and hopefully get there again. I don't know if they'll beat the Indians. I would like to say yes.
Cleveland's on pace. I was listening to a great podcast called Effectively Wild, earlier this week, and Cleveland, they were talking about how Cleveland's starting rotation is on pace to have the best WAR in the history, wins above replacement, cumulative wins above replacement in the history of baseball, surpassing, I think it's the 95 Atlanta Braves rotation.
Wow.
The Cleveland rotation is absolutely dominant, and during their winning streak, they were obscene in how great they were.
I remember a couple of years ago, I was like, maybe that Corey Kluber guy, maybe that was just a fluke. No, not a fluke.
He did have a rough time of it, though, for a stretch or two in the last couple seasons. And
well,
then
like after
back.
he won the Cy Young, he kind of dropped off a little bit, and then now it looks like everything's working out.
Oh, he's sick. His whip is like 0.8 something. It's oh my god, overwhelming.
If I had to pick a guy like right now, this moment, that's like to lead my rotation. That's who I'd take.
So, yeah. He's a stud.
I'm not talking like he's the best overall. I don't, I'd still give that to Kershaw despite some recent struggles. But like if you're like, hey, playoffs start tomorrow, who do you want? You can have anybody in baseball. I'd probably take him.
But I tell you, it'd be so much easier to root for Cleveland if they just dropped the Chief Wahoo.
Sure. It is over. It is no. You're right. It's overdue. Yeah, it is. It's.
You'll notice I refer to them as Cleveland, not by their nickname.
Right. I kind of like the old school C logo that they have too.
The block.
It looks the block. Yeah, it looks like sort of like a 1950s kind of logo.
Yeah,
which I like.
That's been strategically incorporated over the last few years. That's
right.
Yeah, that's phasing out Chief Wahoo.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll I guess probably the next time we record, the playoffs will be underway. So we'll have a lot more to talk about then. So moving on tonight. Tonight we've got kind of a thematic episode of sort of related to, I think, sort of the lateness of the season in baseball. Right now we're recording this near the end of September, so only a few games left in the regular season before the playoffs begin. So our topic tonight is going to be actually about late bloomers. So these are players or bands that came on late, like their best years of their careers, I should say, was sort of after kind of where a lot of other players or bands sort of established themselves. So we're going to talk about that. That's going to be fun. And then we've also got our grab bag and our show your cards. We're going to go into the grab bag first. So this is where each of us just throws out a topic and the others are unaware of it until that topic is announced. So, Levi, I will let you begin. Dip into the grab bag, pull out a big glob of grab bag stuff, and stick it right there.
Okay, yeah. Well, my grab bag kind of also incorporates our main topic tonight, and it's Mark Twain. And Mark Twain was an avid baseball watcher. I didn't know if anybody out there in listening land knows that, but an interesting fact, Tom Sawyer didn't come out till he was 41, and he didn't write Huck Finn till he was 49.
Late bloomer.
So,
Never too late. Yeah.
But early in his life, when he was still mainly known as Sam Clemens, in 1887, he agreed to umpire a game in his summer hometown of Elmira, New York. And so he had maybe a little bit of fame and notoriety, because I guess his first works, like King Arthur's Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court, was one of his first works that kind of got popular.
Yeah.
But he agreed to umpire this baseball game. And at this time, baseball, after the Civil War, there sometimes wasn't even umps. They, a lot of times, didn't even call balls and strikes. They didn't even catch.
Yeah.
Like that, none of this was counted.
Some kind of a fledgling enterprise.
Well, and being an umpire could get like heated. You could get the shit beat out of you or whatever. Like It was crazy. And so he agrees to umpire this game as long as they provide a chair, a fan, an umbrella, and a pitcher of ice water for him. I wonder how hard it was to get a pitcher of ice water for him in 1887.
Yeah, was ice abundant?
I don't even know. Like,
I know I sound really dumb saying that.
no, yeah, I'm like,
They
right.
have ice then? Yes, they did.
Right.
But like, I can't imagine like you were just like, hey, more ice, please. All right.
Right? Yeah. Like a kid's got to like ride his bike like 3 miles to the ice plant and like get a block, like strap it to his back and ride back. When he gets back, the block's only like this big now.
It couldn't have been easy. It's
yeah. So this day, yes, they called no balls and strikes, and at the start of the game, Samuel and another one of his wealthier aristocrat kind of buddies, they were announced to be also like kind of celebrity umpiring the game.
okay.
They saw it was getting like heated at home plate, and so they're like, maybe we'll just go to the stands and watch the game. And so like after the first inning or something, he just like hung out in the stands and didn't really umpire, and he just like. He was like, I gave them support from the stands, like in reports he gave to newspapers.
For every call, they had to look up at the stands to see, like, ball, strike, what is it?
Right?
He just, like, had a pipe. He's like, ball.
Right? Like, I guess, like, a lot of like, the fans were disappointed because they thought Samuel and this other gentleman were going to, like, stand on the field and tell like anecdotes and like jokes and stories in between innings and stuff.
Like it was part of the book tour or something.
Right,
like that.
Yeah, and like they just like hung out. So yeah, I thought that was great.
Old man Twain takes in a game how he wants to take in a game, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, so I thought that was great.
I did not know that. Yeah, that's cool. I knew he was a baseball fan, so a little bit, but yeah, I didn't know that particular story. Cool. You know what? I'll go next, and then I'll pass the proverbial baseball spliff to Jonathan after that. So let me say this one, right? I was thinking, I was looking at the playoff picture, and looks like 2 of baseball's 4 most recent teams, and I'm not counting the Nationals because those are just the relocated Expos. And they'll always be the Expos to me. But anyway, of the 4 most recent teams, so I don't know, are you guys guilty of like still calling them expansion teams? I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
I'd be like the Marlins.
Marlins expansion.
Have been around for 25 years now. But anyway.
Goddamn expansion team.
Right. Yeah. But the Marlins, the Rockies, and then the Rays and the Diamondbacks. I was trying to think, like, who is, of those 4 teams, like, the most quintessential player of those 4 teams? And it was a little harder than I thought, because some of the guys, like, had, like, their moment in the spotlight for those teams, but they weren't with them very long.
Yeah, then that's, like, always gonna,
You think about, like,
early expansion teams, that's always going to happen.
Right, like the 2001 World Series. I mean, God, Diamondbacks won the World Series. What, the 4th year of existence? I think. Like
it was Bob Brindley's first year as the coach, and then he won it and then retired. He's like, I'm out.
But you had Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling as They basically pitched every other day of the World Series.
Yeah.
It was like a 2-man rotation that they won that with.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, for Diamondbacks, for me, I'll go with Randy Johnson. Like, I in my head, he's got a weird hybrid of a Mariners Diamondbacks hat on. I don't know quite what it is, but like I have to admit, I do think of him as a Diamondback. I think, if you ask me in a couple of years, I might say Paul Goldschmidt just because he's hit so well. But to me, like, I don't often think of recent guys. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Goldschmidt, like, he's been on tear now for probably about 4 or 5 years. But, I don't think of him yet as the guy. That's just my own association.
Yeah. I mean, that's a tough call. I mean, in my head, I still see a lot of '90s cards. Of Mark Grace on the Diamondbacks, and like
was just for 1 year, or no, because he was on the 01 team that won.
He won a World Series, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And so who else?
Luis Gonzalez, of course.
Was Matt Williams? I remember Matt Williams
was on. Yeah, Matt Williams was on the Diamondbacks. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's harder than you think, because it's like, who is their guy?
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, as far as Rockies out here in Colorado.
Larry Walker.
Yeah, I was going to say Larry Walker or Holiday.
Helton.
I was going to say Hilton or even Holiday, Matt Holiday.
Yeah. I'll go with Helton because he played his whole career there.
Yeah.
I was just chatting with the guy at work the other night because it's the 10-year anniversary of Rocktober.
Oh, 07, yeah.
Yep. And so he was like telling me about how crazy it was and how, everybody.
Oh, yeah?
How excited it was. I was like, hey, that's awesome.
They were excited to get swept the fuck out of the World Series.
Yeah, it was like, it didn't last long.
I'll still take credit for that.
Yeah. And that was your guy's second, right? Yeah.
You could get a. I guess you could probably give Tulowitzki a few votes, but he's moved on now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with Helton.
Helton.
He's probably a Hall of Fame guy. If any I don't know did his name ever surface like in Royd stuff?
No, it didn't.
I think so.
Okay. He's a Hall of Famer, I would guess. He was.
I think he's kind of on the fringe, maybe.
Oh, yeah, he was playing well into like his late 30s, I thought. Like playing, like still hitting the ball.
He ended up with 2,500 hits, 370 home runs, 1,400 RBI, career .316 hitter, pretty solid.
Yeah,
I would say that again, man. Yeah,
actually, according to Baseball Reference, I think they pretty much consider him a likely Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Well, that batting average was always high. I mean, just he was a machine there.
He could rake, yeah.
Yeah. And also a rarity that a guy would now, I would say, anybody that's played over the last 25 years to spend your whole career with one team to a long career.
Yeah.
It's unlikely. You don't have your like Cal Ripkens anymore. That spend their whole career with one team.
Birds, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, George Brett's. That just doesn't happen really anymore. It's a different game, different business of the game at least. So for the Rays, I'm kind of stumped. I mean, I'll say David Price, but I mean, I guess Longoria would probably get some votes.
Dude,
probably.
I see Jose Canseco every time I see the Devil.
I think of it. You know what? I think of him too.
Like, yeah.
Monster seasons with them
near
the end of his career. Like if he hit like 40, 45 home runs a couple times.
Yeah, and then who else? Man, the Rays, that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's the toughest one.
Who is hold on, who is the sabermetrics darling from the Rays? Fantasy baseball darling.
It's not Zobrist, is it?
Zobrist, yeah, Zobrist for a few years, yeah. Longoria, I think, is their number one overall in WAR, and Zobrist is number 2.
Okay.
And number 3 is Carl Crawford. Yeah, so Longoria, though Longoria's been kind of a disappointment, hasn't he?
He's good, but he's not great. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like I think he was expected to like go up a level, and he never really did.
But he's still solid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's good, but he's not great.
Career 825 OPS, 260 home runs. Yeah.
What's his career average?
270. So
I figured he's like a 270 guy. Yeah. He's disappointment might be too. Yeah. I guess he is a disappointment. In the sense that he didn't turn into like the perennial MVP candidate that he was supposed to.
Right.
And then the Marlins. Who is the quintessential Marlin?
Livan Hernandez.
There's been so much turnover on those teams. Like the 90s.
Charlie Huff.
Charlie Huff. Yeah, I'll go with good Charlie Huff reference. I'll go the quintessential Marlin. Shit, because those guys too. They I think of Miguel Cabrera on the Tigers, but he was on that Marlins World Series team. So was Pudge.
Shed tears seen Andre Dawson play for them.
He did play for them.
I was like, they like tore my heart out.
Dude. Yeah. Oh, dude, if somebody ever sports like a Dawson Marlins jersey, I know that'd be painful for you, Levi, but I kind of like it. It's like, yeah. I guess I'll go with.
He's staring you in the face. The all-time Marlin is staring you in the face.
What?
He's
Hanley Ramirez?
No, he's literally raking home runs as we speak.
Oh shit! Yeah, Stanton. Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Giancarlo,
Right,
don't call me Mike Stanton.
But it hasn't been around that long. Though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they're going to have, like...
He's their all-time leader in WAR.
Yeah, if they're having Marlin is, though, who are they going to stand right next to Giancarlo? That's what I want to know.
So,
the number 2 is tougher with the Marlins.
Yeah.
Giancarlo's number 1 with 34 WAR. Hanley Ramirez is 2.
Okay.
At 26. Josh Johnson is number 3 with 25. Josh Johnson, go figure.
Wow.
The pitcher, Josh Johnson?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't forget about D-Train, Dontrell Willis.
Oh, he's on
nice.
there too. Yeah, I think
put your hands to the side. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah. That'll boy. He was done. He was done quickly, man. It was good for while it lasted, but it didn't last long.
Miggy Cabrera, Michael Lowell, a couple other.
But I always think of
Marlins.
Miggy like in a Tigers uniform.
Of course, yeah. I mean, he's going to go into the Hall of Fame as a Tiger. Miggy will.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my question. I was thinking, just sort of, who are the faces of those franchise? And it's not like it is for other teams. You know what I mean?
No, it's not cut and dry. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, and if you think about the other expansion teams, the previous expansion teams, so the Royals, it's easy. George Brett. Mariners, easy. King Griffey Jr. Houston Astros, Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, it's got to be Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Bagwell or Biggio.
Yeah.
Caminiti.
Ken Caminiti, R.I.P.
He got an MVP, but that was in San Diego.
And he was juiced.
Yeah. Man, a tough road for that guy.
Certainly,
I don't know if like a 30 for 30 or documentary is in the works on that guy, but I'd like to see one.
Mm-hmm. If I recall, there's a good Sports Illustrated article on it.
There is. I think you're right. There's like a long form piece from a few years back on it. So.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. Yeah. So what? All right, that was my grab bag. What about you, John?
So mine, admittedly, is a little dated because I thought up of it like right after we recorded our last episode, and it's about Ryan Adams, not Bryan Adams, but Ryan Adams.
Okay.
And Ryan Adams is just like always talking shit about other artists. He recently said about Alt J, it's like a mosquito bite. If you ignore it, it'll go away. About the Strokes, I should have forced them to get addicted to writing better songs. And then he was slamming Father John Misty. So
he's kind of like a modern day Billy Corgan or Chris Robinson, in other words.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's like become,
yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead. Sorry.
And it's funny because what he said about Father John Misty, it's so wonderful you booked the most self-important asshole on earth. To break it all down for us while he does his Nick Cave impression, Ryan Adams can come across as pretty self-important as well. And so, anyway, what I'm getting at is, what are your guys' thoughts on the idea of talking shit or rivalries in music?
Interesting.
They've always been there.
Sure.
It seems like.
Sure.
Even if you go back to classical composer days, you know what I mean?
Touche. Yes.
But like.
For every I'll probably butcher my timeline. Somebody will correct me. Be like, those people are 100 years apart.
Yeah. Well, we're not.
I was like, what was the Vince Neil Axl Rose feud of the 17th century?
Of literally feudal times.
Yeah.
Dude, if you get on and you look at like when Axl and Vince were exchanging words, it's probably like around 90, 91. There's a good interview with Vince. Vince looks right in the camera. He's like, Axl, you named the time, you named the place.
It's just as good as any like WWF hype video from the Golden.
Yeah.
Like they're both just like, we're gonna get you, and it's
it's fun. I don't like it when some of my favorite musicians. I mean, one of the people I just mentioned,
right? Yeah.
One of the people I just mentioned, Chris Robinson.
Yeah.
It became less charming and funny as maybe I got older or he got older. Just when it's like unprovoked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like fucking let Taylor Swift be Taylor Swift. Like why do you have to? Like why do you have to like talk shit about other bands?
Right?
I mean, shouldn't there be like some type of code among musicians? It's like, hey, you do this for a living, you're creative. You do this for a living, you're creative. Like, yeah, you might not like my band, but you don't have to say that to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk shit about John Mayer recently too. It's like, so what? Let him play with the band. Who cares? At the end of the day, who fucking cares? I don't.
I mean, obviously,
I don't. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Levi.
I mean, Chris, he's obviously doing what he wants to do musically, so it's like, why not let other people do what they want to do musically?
Do your thing, all right? Yeah. We'll do theirs, and that's everybody will go on.
The ironic thing is we could talk shit about Chris all day long.
Well, he's giving us a lot of ammunition, that's all. You know what I mean?
Team Rich. Anyway, go ahead.
Like Billy Corgan or like, it's...
Yeah, I guess I'll say I don't like it. I mean, like it's had its entertaining moments, like the Vince Neil, Axl Rose thing. But out of musicians I really admire, and I do admire Axl, but I don't like it. I think the examples you cited with Ryan Adams and the ones I cited with Chris, to me it comes off as childish.
Yeah.
Well, there's no way to come out of the situation looking better, or you know what I mean.
Like, it might feel good in the moment, but when when you have time to think about it, it's like, what did that accomplish? Yeah.
And when it's unprovoked, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like all those people didn't say anything to Ryan Adams, is my guess. I mean, he's just like, why be a dick?
There's probably less and less people showing up at Ryan Adams concerts or something like that, and maybe who knows? I don't know, but like,
maybe he's upset because that guy from Dawes is marrying his ex-wife. But anyway, I don't know if you guys heard about that.
I didn't know.
You shouldn't let the art take you to that dark of a place, I think.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I get maybe in the moment it just like you're saying something funny for the sake of being funny, but maybe if you say it out loud at a concert to 1,000 or 10,000 or 15,000 people, it's whatever. I'd rather have you talk politics than talk shit about another band.
One of the ones that it seems like I've always seen the interaction and comparison with him, and it's the fans and not necessarily the two bands arguing, is the Beatles and the Stones.
Right.
It's like there's always people going back like, Beatles, Stones, and like,
one doesn't cancel out the other.
Right. It's like, one didn't make the other. One, you know what I mean? It's
I like them both for different reasons.
And that was tough though when they were, obviously in the mid '60s, because there wasn't that was it. It was the Beatles and the Stones, and so the media would inevitably ask the one about the other, and I'm not read up on what was said about each other at the time, but
talked a lot of smack about each other or anything that I've ever known.
Yeah, but they were always asked about each other.
They hung out together, I mean, so it's not. I think it was more probably inflated by the media and the fans, I would guess. So.
Yeah, right, and just for the sake, because there wasn't as much to talk about then. I think nowadays there's plenty to talk about when it comes to entertainment and music, so you don't really need to stoke those sorts of rivalries, but maybe you still get it because it's the TMZ life that we live.
Overall, I don't like it though. Especially when it's unprovoked.
Yeah,
it seems
I agree.
unnecessary.
It's not. It's unnecessary.
Even when it's about artists that I don't care for. Yeah. I still think it's like, what's the point? I don't like to offend people who like a band. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what you mean.
I don't want to like talk down to anybody. Like, that's cool that you like a band I don't give a shit about. the last thing I want to do is try to like demean the band in front of you.
Yeah, and I think I used to not be like that when I was like some cocky 19.
Oh yeah, well yeah, I
like,
think everybody
I know everything.
I think everybody is.
Slipknot, they suck. All right, like now, like if somebody told me that, like if I told, like I'd be like fuck you, I don't give a shit what you like, I like what I like, and you go and do what you need to do. I
wish they would take that energy and put it into the art. You know what I mean? I would always appreciate artists who did that more. Keep your mouth shut and then make your next release better.
Yeah. if music's moving somebody in some way, it's doing its job, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Regardless of what it is.
Doesn't matter if it's Radiohead or the Spice Girls. I don't care. If it makes somebody feel something.
Right.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, yeah. Nice grab bag, guys.
Grab bag closed.
All right. So now we're going to get into the main portion here. It's late in the baseball season, so we're going to talk about late bloomers among musicians and baseball players. So these are folks, like I said earlier in the show, who came on a little bit later, maybe at an age where other artists or athletes had already established themselves. You don't really think of it as sort of the median age, so to speak, for somebody to really blossom. With bands, for me in this one, I'll let you guys go because I didn't really write much down about the music. It was harder for me with the bands because obviously in baseball you can look at numbers, and there you go. With bands, it's kind of like, well, are they late bloomers or are they just evolving? You know what I mean? It's like, is this what was supposed to happen? You know what you guys? Yeah. Maybe I'm not doing a good job.
I think there can be both. I think there's definitely both, actually. Yeah. Leonard Cohen, 33 years old when songs from Leonard Cohen came out.
Oh, there you go. Right.
You know what I mean? And Debbie Harry, same age, 33 when Parallel Lines hit. Granted, they had some hits a little bit before that, but I mean, James Murphy, LCD Sound System, 35 when that first record came out.
Wow.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah, they have been around a while. Yeah, good example there.
One of the best is Flaming Lips, Wayne. He graduated high school. He was 18. Worked for 11 years as a fry cook at Long John Silver's.
This is well documented, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Until Don't Use Jelly finally hit, and he was
which would have been like 95 or so.
It's like 30 or 96. Well, yeah, he was in his 30s.
Yeah.
And the Peaches, for all the grandmas who don't know out there, on iTunes and download the Teaches of Peaches, and you'll get. I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about. Peaches, she's I
do. Yeah.
And kind of a dirty rap artist. Yeah. She was a teacher at a Jewish preschool for 10 years before she decided to go into music.
Yeah.
And that first Peaches album didn't come out till she was almost 35.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that is definitely not safe for work, so do not look that up at work. One of the daddy of them all, though, has got to be Thelonious Monk. He was like 40 when Brilliant Corners came out, which is like one of his biggest known albums that like projected him to becoming like, I mean, he had written like around midnight, like I think right when he was 30 or a little bit before he was 30. But like that album Brilliant Corners is what made him like, everybody's like Thelonious Monk. That's how you know him.
Yeah.
And so, it's cool that, age doesn't have to play a part, I think. You know what I mean? I think if the music and the art is there, it doesn't matter how old you are,
Yeah. Good example. I'll throw one into the mix, Levi. It's not as like a drastic example as Thelonious, like you said, but Ian Hunter of Mott the Hoople didn't. Mott the Hoople's first. He was born in 1939. Mott the Hoople's first record didn't come out until 1969, so he was 30.
30, yeah.
So he's 78 right now, so that makes him older than Dylan, by a couple of years, I think. older than Mick, older than Keith, older than, like, I think maybe 3 years older than McCartney, and all those guys had, well established. They were practically veterans by the time the '70s started.
Yeah.
And he was a late bloomer in my eyes.
Yeah, for sure.
So that one.
I got to thinking about, just kind of albums that I think are the best of an artist's repertoire, and if they're later on in their catalog.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one that popped into my mind was Tom Petty's Wildflowers.
Oh, for sure.
He recorded. Obviously, that was well into his career.
Almost 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, the Tom Petty, the self-titled came out in '76 with the Heartbreakers, and Wildflowers is '94. So, 18 years later, he was 44 when he did that, and that's obviously he went through a lot of shit, to write that album. That one often. If one's going to go through that sort of shit, it's often at that age, I think.
Sure.
And so yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I think Wildflowers is his most robust and strongest album, and it's almost overwhelming, and it's
Well, it's not a and the Heartbreakers record.
Correct. No. Admittedly, I'm kind of mixing the two, both Petty and the Heartbreakers, because they ended up playing on his solo records anyway. They just weren't credited for whatever reason. So maybe the songwriting process was a little different. What's your guys' opinion on Petty? Is it are you more likely to lean post like 90 or pre-90?
Oh yeah, the two records I pull if I'm listening to Petty are Full Moon Fever and Wildflowers.
Yeah. Last DJ also, 2002.
Yeah, that's a good record.
Those are great. I mean, he's still going strong. He hasn't done anything I haven't liked. I mean, when people mention to me, like, who are the people, like, that are, like, in their late 60s, early 70s that still put out work I want to hear, that I get excited about when they do, it'd just be him and Neil Young. Mm-hmm. Those would be the only, maybe Mark Knopfler, not at the level of those guys, but yeah, I mean, those are the only two people whose work I still get excited about. And I don't know, Petty's got to be at least like 66, 67 now, something like that.
Yeah.
And Neil's 70, 71, maybe even a little older. So I like all those records you guys cited. But to me, like, I really like, his, I guess it'd probably be the Heartbreakers, like first 5 records a lot, something like that. Mm-hmm. All those big singles that are on Wildflowers and that are on Full Moon Fever, I have fond memories of those because those all happened during my lifetime.
Yeah, teenage years,
or at least when I was listening to music, a lot, when I was cognizant of good music. But now as I get older, and I didn't really know You're Gonna Get It. That's his second album, right, or third album, something like that.
You're Gonna Get It's the second album, 78.
Okay. Like, I wasn't that familiar with all those except for maybe the singles that were on them. So in recent years, I've been listening more to those, and I've got a new appreciation for them. But I guess if you were to tell me Tom Petty, like, what would I think of? Yeah, I guess I probably would think of. I would think of either Damn the Torpedoes or Full Moon Fever.
Yeah.
Literally, like,
which are wide apart. I know it's about 12 years of difference, 10 years of difference.
My conscious is anytime I hear or see Tom Petty, like, the first thing in my head is the scene in the Free Fallin' video where they're going down the escalator.
Oh, okay. Nice.
No idea why, but, like, that is the image in my head.
I like the girl on the skateboard in that video.
Yeah.
But so that's Petty. Okay, that's an interesting twist.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought of people that I didn't like when I first heard them, but now I like them a lot.
That was the other angle I was thinking about too. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll name just a few. Presidents of the United States of America. I think they're awesome. Like, I just thought that was corny and stupid, and I was listening to other things when it came out. I think that those first two records of theirs are great.
My buddy Dan was into them and Offspring when that stuff was first out. So I got to hear them and appreciate them a little, and I always liked the hits.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pusa,
they're great.
They're a great band. Yeah.
Yeah, they should be reconsidered. I've talked about them on the show a lot, so I won't belabor it, but I didn't like Oasis when I first heard them just because I guess I just kind of had an attitude and thought they were sort of douchey, you know. Yeah. But I really like Oasis's entire catalog. I even think like their later records are pretty good too, kind of underrated. Yeah. So Oasis I came around on. The Verve is another band I came around on. Like, you know, when I first heard them, I think I was just listening to other stuff, and now I really think, you know, their first, I guess it would be like their first 3 records are great. Hell, they've only got like 4 or 5 records. And then also, I guess like I always like the songs. Like growing up, I'd hear them on oldies stations in the car, you know, when you were going to Springfield with your mom or something. But I guess maybe I thought like then when I started listening to music seriously, I was like, oh, well, that's, you know, they don't always play instruments, and that's just a showcase of good voices. But I've really grown to appreciate Motown a lot in recent years. I mean, I guess I always kind of I think I respected it always, but like just the production value and just how good, particularly the female artists sound. I listen to Motown a lot lately. Nice. So I not that I ever thought it was bad, you know, I always liked it, but like I think in recent years I've appreciated just how, I'll say it, like how brilliant some of those bands, like how well constructed that music is.
Well, and a lot of it would blow your mind to see like the room that it was recorded in, because I mean, they, you know, none of it was by any means the fanciest studios.
Yeah, what they got out, the sound that they got out of it, you know, it's just something else. So I kind of came around to that. So.
Yeah, that's like the late to the party variation.
Right.
Yeah.
So nice.
A couple other quick hits. I for personal preferences, where I was looking for albums that I think came out 10 years after the band's debut that I prefer. I think Wilco's peak is A Ghost Is Born in Sky Blue Sky, which is like 0407, which is, you know, 9 to 12 years after they debuted. Obviously, a lot of people will argue Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, which is sooner. And Radiohead's Hail to the Thief, 2003. So Pablo Honey was, what, 93, 94?
93, I think, yeah.
So I my personal preference is Hail to the Thief, so that's a full 10 years after the debut. And post OK Computer, which I assume most people will claim they're
probably the quintessential Radiohead album for most people.
Right. Yeah. Know? So those are just a couple quick hits.
I also think Afroman's Because I Got High is a really, really good hip hop record, dude. Well, it's a good record. Period. And like at the time, I just thought it was kind of a corny single, which it still kind of is. But dude, that whole record is really good, dude, start to finish.
Oh yeah, my buddy Raj, we used to bump that in his car, man.
Yeah, dude, he's like not a bad. Afroman's not a bad guitarist either, dude.
Yeah, wherever you're out there, Raj, my buddy Raj, he introduced me to all that rap. He's the reason I now own like Master P, Ghetto D.
Oh yeah,
like all that, like you know, Little Troy. You know, just like.
That's that late '90s stuff, right?
Oh yeah, dude, that was the era.
Dude, Master P was like on top of the world for a while.
Oh yeah, Ghetto D was huge.
Dude, he had his like fingerprints on everything. Like Snoop came out under his label for a little
while.
Oh yeah,
Silk the Shocker.
And then it like all fell apart, dude, for Master P. Yeah. Anyway, so he's probably still doing okay though. But anyway, I hope so. But anyway, now moving over to baseball for late bloomers, there's actually quite a few players of a recent year that fit the bill. Now I'm talking, I guess for baseball it'd be like, you know, most people say like, oh, the prime year for a lot of players is when they're 27. So I guess I'll say that these people didn't get noticed until after they were 27, if not maybe 30 even.
Okay.
One that comes to mind right now, a guy that's having an MVP caliber year, is Justin Turner.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
I mean, like,
Yep.
he's kicking ass. I don't, obviously, maybe he might have cooled off a little bit when the Dodgers lost all those games, I assume. But like 2 years ago, I just thought that guy was like, oh yeah, that's that guy with red hair on the Dodgers and the beard. You know? Right.
The Dodgers acquired a daywalker.
Yeah,
right?
right. And his numbers were just kind of okay. You know, like last year he kind of turned it on a little bit, you know, to enough to like where like he got a decent contract for this year, but like this year, geez, you know. I was like, you know, they overpaid for that guy. Then I'm like, oh no, keep him. He like, you know, for about 3/4 of the season he hit like 360. So yeah, you want to keep that guy. So him, another one that comes to mind to me, it's a lot of power hitters. Jose Bautista.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like he started in 2004, but like nobody really noticed him until like 2011.
He was a Royal at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played for Baltimore. Yeah, he was a journeyman guy. He played for Baltimore. Probably a couple other teams before he settled down in Toronto. So he's one. Nelson Cruz, like, kind of didn't really do much the first part of his career, like the first half of his career, essentially. He didn't really turn it on until he was in his late 20s. So those are recent guys. Other ones, a guy that pitched for the White Sox pitched until he was 50 years old. Yes, that's right, 50. Hoyt Wilhelm.
Oh yeah, old Hoyt.
Yeah, dude. He didn't really start like kicking ass until he was in like his early 30s. And what do you know? He pitched until he was like 50. 50. Yeah. So like Jamie Moyer, you know, you could say is another one.
Yeah.
So there's a few.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like Julio Franco kind of like he was good when he was young, but like he extended his career with enough decent seasons of improving.
Yeah,
he played forever.
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of more of an issue of longevity, though, rather than like sort of blooming late.
60% of Julio Franco's hits came after the age of 30.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So,
Levi, you're right.
1,500 of 2,500 career hits. Yeah.
I was looking at some lists of players, and there's a guy, like, he played in, like, the 30s by the name of Dazzy Vance.
Oh, Dazzy, yeah. No,
yeah.
I have no idea.
Like, look up him. Like, I don't think he collected a hit until he was, like, 32 or something like that. And then he ended up winning, like a bunch of batting titles, I think. He was really good, if you look at his numbers.
Yeah, I mean, he played from 1915 to 1935.
Wow.
But let's see. So he was also a pitcher.
Yeah.
And at age 33, he went 28-6.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was out of the league. Maybe did he go to war?
I was gonna say he almost was in the league long enough to go to 2 wars.
Yeah, right. Huh?
Yeah, he may have gone to war because he was introduced in 1915, and then it jumps to 1918 where he pitched in 2 games for the Yankees, and then he didn't pitch again until 1922. I bet there's service time in there somewhere. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, but no, he did all right coming back.
Yeah, another one of kind of recent years. Kevin Millar came kind of late, you know.
Yeah.
He was a little older when he got going.
Late bloomer, yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, he was a replacement player, if I'm not mistaken.
Was he?
Like the strike, replacement player. I think he was.
I don't know that.
So, but yeah, he didn't really turn it on until he was.
Do you guys remember
28, 29, something like that?
I wonder if it's the same thing with the Baseball Players Union, where I know with the NHL Players Union, if you were a replacement player during a strike, you couldn't be on like memorabilia. So
really?
Let's say if you won the cup and they made T-shirts of all the players, like they would not put your name on there if you crossed the line, like because you weren't part of the union. I wonder if that's the same deal with baseball.
I know they did it with the Redskins football players. None of those guys got rings. The year NFL had the NFL had the holdout, and they had the Redskins though were still all their replacement players were awesome, and they got them to the playoffs basically, and then they won the Super Bowl, and none of those guys got a ring.
That'd have been like 87, something like that. Yeah,
87. 87, I think, is right.
Well, there's a new 30 for 30 out about that.
Yeah, correct.
I want to see that.
Excellent,
I think Jonathan's right, though, and Levi, too, I say this because I just mentioned Kevin Millar a minute ago as a late bloomer. MVP 2005, the greatest baseball game of all time, next to baseball. Well, baseball stars arguments. But anyway, we've had a previous episode about this game. Check it out. Kevin Millar, is not on the game, but he is on the game.
There you go.
His name's like John Dowd or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's clearly
John
Kevin
Scab
Millar.
Is what they call him.
It's clearly Kevin Millar, though.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing there's like you said, there's probably got to be a union agreement where they can't be on merchandise.
According to his Wikipedia page, he's barred from membership from the Players Association because he was a replacement player.
Wow,
that's interesting. Yeah, for sure. Right now, and incidentally, I'm reading the story of the 1981 strike, which is really more of an owner's holdout. It was strike and name only, so it was really the owners being dicks over the players. And so I'm kind of got that on the brain. The whole Players Association. Yeah.
I'll add one more for recent players. That kid in Cincinnati, I shouldn't say kid because we're talking about late bloomers. He's like 33. But Zach Cozart, the shortstop, I mean, he's having like an MVP caliber year, granted on a bad team. But, you didn't really hear anything much about him the first part of his career. And last like year or two, particularly this year, he's really turned it on, and he's over 30.
Yeah.
Hold on, I don't mean to go back to Millar here, but his Wikipedia page has a video game aliases section.
That's awesome.
So, in MVP 2005 and the other two games that year, he's replaced by Anthony Freeze, is his name.
That's the name. The name. Okay, John Dowd is actually Barry Bonds, I think, because they couldn't get the license for Bonds. But anyway, Bonds doesn't fall under that purview.
In MLB 08, he's Ivan Jimenez.
Awesome.
In MLB 2K7, he's Kyle Morgan. And then in MLB Power Pros 2008, it's, wow, this is a flattering one, Great Johnson.
That's awesome.
So Kevin Millar has a ring, right?
Yeah, he got a ring, but I bet he's not on a lot of World Series merchandise.
The side of his ring says Freeze.
Yeah.
Anthony Freeze, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You're right. Wow. I know he's goofy as hell, but I kind of like that guy.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
I think he's a good time.
Seems nice enough.
He seems like he takes most of it in stride. I like him.
So the elephant in the room when it comes to late bloomers in baseball is Randy Johnson. He was a very mediocre pitcher who just led the majors in walks until like the age of 29.
Oh, okay.
Like that's all he was good for, was leading the majors in walks. And then he just flipped the switch, and his ERAs in his 30s went from the mid. He went from the mid to upper threes in ERAs in his late 20s to starting in age 30, 319, 248, 228, 248, 264, 249. So ages 35 to 38. Randy Johnson, in addition to winning Cy Youngs, went ERAs 248, 264, 249, 232, throwing anywhere from 248 innings to 270 innings, striking out 364, 347, 372, 334.
Wow.
And
wow, I knew he had broken 300 strikeouts on a few occasions. Yeah,
and it was all ages 35 to 38. And here we are making a big deal about, Chris Sale is going to strike out 300 this year, and he'll be the first pitcher to do that in several years. And Johnson did it several years in a row.
If like a guy strikes out like 200, it's pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, crazy.
Yeah, just obnoxious. The other kind of the runner up to Randy Johnson is Dave Stewart when it comes to late starting pitching bloomers, because Dave Stewart didn't get a chance to start. He did get a chance at age 27 to start, and he wasn't very good for the Rangers. But then the A's gave him another shot at age 30 in 1987, and that's when he started to, he won 20 games 4 years in a row. Pitched way over 250 innings 4 years in a row, and that's when Dave Stewart became Dave Stewart. Obviously, helped him lead them to a World Series even.
Yeah.
Eckersley was a little bit of a late bloomer too.
Well, and he was a two-phase career. Yeah.
Right. But when he got that MVP, 91, he got the MVP and the Cy Young in 91. Or 90 or 91. Right. I think he was he would have been like in his probably like his mid-30s, I would guess.
I was going to say maybe even later 30s.
Could be.
Yeah.
He won in. Sorry, I'm.
No, it's still good.
Let's see. Yeah, he won at age 37.
That's that MVP Cy Young year?
Yeah, that's when he had 51 saves for Oakland.
Yeah, because they gave her, it's like they gave a reliever the MVP that year. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, and not when Eric Gagne won his, it wasn't since Eckersley.
Yeah. 91.
92 is the year that he won.
92 is the year that he won. Okay.
Yeah,
because the A's didn't even go to the World Series that year, 92. But anyway.
No, right, yeah, that was the
Blue Jays. Yeah. Cool. Good stuff, guys.
Yeah, Levi, did you have any to add?
Well, we actually touched on the main one. I was going to talk some about Justin Turner, but that can be a perfect segue for our final segment of the evening. One I know that the kiddies at home are fond of. Show your cards time.
Let's do it.
And mine is a top.
Oh, nice.
Heritage Justin Turner. It's
that's a good-looking card.
Yeah, it's a 1968.
Wow, nice.
Justin Turner. Yeah, he's got quite the beard and mane going, and I love these type of shots with just the big bright blue sky and the green grass down below.
Yeah.
So it's a great looking card.
I really like those throwback cards that they're doing like that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jonathan. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
I just think that Justin Turner looked like he was a gamer for that photo shoot. He was ready to. He was ready to look the part.
I like it. He seems like a pretty good dude, man. Like I saw him. They had him play in the show. Maybe 2K, like one of the new baseball games that look awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Video games, and like the customizations on those games now are like pretty good. You can get like, you can like add facial stubble by like one
pixel at a time.
It's one facial stubble at a time, and he's like, hell, man, I might not even play the game, dude. Like, I think I'm just gonna make guys all day. Which is like totally something I'd say, or one of us would say. So, like, man, I don't even think I'll get around to playing the game.
I feel you, Justin. I do.
Yeah. So he seems all right in my book, man. He seems like a cool cat.
Who should be crying is Jason Worth, man. He should have patented that, man. He'd have made some money because that look has like overtaken baseball.
Oh God, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, every team almost has one of those guys. Harley Blackman looks like he just came out of the Rocky Mountains to play the game.
Right. Merged from the cave out into the outfield. They should put a cave back there that he comes out of. Right? Jason Worth actually is kind of a late bloomer too. Just
J-Way. Yeah.
Didn't really start turning it on until he was like 28 with the Phillies, like in 07.
Right. Yeah.
We were all following him closely, so
we were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were aware of him.
So you got to work some magic, Levi. Get him on the show once he retires. All right.
And be like, Chatham Redskins alumni unite. Come on.
I don't know how much gas is. He's got maybe like 1 year left on that deal, maybe something like that.
Oh, he's made a lot of money on it.
Yeah, I think there might be like 1 year left. So yeah. But anyway, if he doesn't get signed, let's get him on the podcast. All right.
Like, he seems like maybe like MLB player most likely to retire and like possibly run bales of marijuana in the Bahamas, like in seaplanes. Like he seems like that kind of a guy, maybe, or something. Like I just don't know what his career after baseball is. I don't know.
I think it could be whatever the hell he wants, probably.
It seems like. You give a guy like him with that much money, interesting things can happen.
Yeah. Ostrich farm, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, like, wait for the future.
All right.
All right. Cool. On that note, yeah, we don't know anything about like why we would think that, but we don't want to incriminate him. Or...
Yeah, right. But anyway, I'll go with mine here. I sometimes feature, cards that like weren't part of like the tops or they weren't like one of your brands, so to speak.
KB's toy stores.
Yeah. So I've got a Toys R Us card. And speaking of which, Toys R Us, I declared bankruptcy yesterday. So yeah.
Supposedly, yes.
Yeah.
Pull it back just a little to get it in the light. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Danny card.
Nice.
Toys R Us card.
That Mariners logo.
Good Jerry curl.
Go to your
Danny
left
right there as
Go to
well.
your left. Yeah.
Okay.
Your other left. There you go. Yeah, that's good. Oh, that classic logo. Is that have a little glossy front on it?
It does.
Oh,
it's nice, nice and glossy.
That was the
87.
87. Yeah.
Set. They used to come in the little cardboard box. Remember, you would pop the box. I remember though. While they are awesome now, I do remember the feeling of being like a 7 or 8 year old, and you would get it open, and you'd be like, "Oh, these aren't tops."
Right.
Like at first, like the asshole little kid in you at Christmas would come out, you'd be like, "Ah," but then you would still open them and look at them and stuff. But yeah. The Toys R Us rookies, good call.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. Did you buy the whole set? Or do you just have that as a single?
I have a few others. Like I think I must have just purchased a pack or two.
Yeah. It typically came in like a little, like a playing card box.
Yeah, right.
A little set of them.
Yeah. I've got a few. I've got a few. So.
Nice. Well, I'm going to go more recent and throwback at the same time. This is a 2014 Gypsy Queen, Rod Carew.
Nice.
So Rod Carew on the California Angels, the then California Angels, in this shot, sporting a spectacular headband.
Is that a painting or is it a photo?
It's a photo.
Oh, it's a Gypsy Queen, and the Gypsy Queens are photos that they take.
Yeah,
and then
they manipulate them.
Photoshop them to look kind of like art.
Yeah, they kind of oversaturate them and deepen all the shadows on there. You can see in here too. You can tell the phase of his career, in addition to being on the Angels, but he's wearing a first baseman's mitt in this shot, and Carew played. Mostly first base and DH for the Angels.
He's got like the Jimi Hendrix look going with that headband.
He does actually, awesome. Yeah. His years too, and age 33 in 1979, he went to the Angels, and for the next, that's where he finished his career. Over 7 years, batted like anywhere from 295 was his low to 280 was his low in his final season, but he batted like 318, 331, 319, 339, so he was still raking.
Hell of a hitter, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, got mad hits like I was. 3,053 career hits.
328 that'll probably get you a
average.
ticket to Cooperstown, is my guess.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think it did. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, obviously he made it to Cooperstown in 1991.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, he was traded to so the trade that sent him to California from Minnesota was for Dave Engel, Paul Hartzell, Brad Havens, and Ken Landreau. So none.
You've all heard of it, home.
I think the Angels got the better end of that one.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Those are the only two teams he played for, right? Angels and Twins.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, Rod Carew.
Stuff.
Good deal. Well, guys, a lot of fun as always. Good, nice to be back too.
Yes.
I want to tell everybody you can find out everything about Rock and Roll Shin-Soo Chew at rockchew.com. And you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at RockInChew. That's in as in Nolan Ryan was kind of a late bloomer, right? Yeah,
Niffy Perez.
He was blooming
Yeah,
late, at the very least.
Niffy Perez. There you go. So yeah, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at RockInChew. You can find archived episodes, different kind of multimedia, videos and all that good stuff at rockchew.com as well. Please give us a review on iTunes. That would appreciate us a lot. That would show appreciation, and we would appreciate it. Sorry.
If we were a business, it would appreciate us.
It would appreciate over time.
Yeah.
Yes.
The stock would go higher. Yes.
Right. That's right. So again, check out rockchew.com. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Like us on Facebook. And until next time, have a good night. See you soon.
Peace.
Good night.